Hello, welcome to today's episode of Scholar Park. So today we are going to talk about choosing a right course for your master's or your postgraduate studies. And we have a guest from all the way from South Africa. Her name is Bianca. So welcome to this video and welcome Bianca. Thanks for coming to discuss with us about, choosing the right course. So perhaps you can introduce yourself to people and tell us who you are.
All right. Hi, Christine, and everyone else. As mentioned, my name is Bianca Taylor. I'm from South Africa, and I studied biotechnology at the University of Rhodes, which is in the Eastern Cape. Basically, pretty standard type of masters that you would get in South Africa is I study through lab work, where I do a lot of research and experiments inside a laboratory setting. And then I have to write a master's thesis up by the end of a 2-year period, which I then submit for basically marking and review. And if they like it, I will get a master's. I'm still in the process of that at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, still writing up. But I can say it's been quite challenging. You'll find a lot with biological sciences and experimentation often go the way you want them to. So you'll try and you'll keep failing experiments and having to repeat experiments. And it can get frustrating, but it is also quite rewarding sometimes, I find. I've learned a lot working in a lab, patience being one of the things, and how to keep going at something, how to do practical work in a safe environment. The COVID setting has also made me learn a lot more about safety, not just in the lab, but in general. And I would say it's been a very interesting turn of events, and that's
so
about it.
You're on a scholarship as well, right?
Yes, that's correct. I am on the DAR scholarship for postgraduate studies. It is a scholarship offered here in South Africa through the National Research Foundation. Basically, I applied to it with my proposal for my master's thesis. And when the National Research Foundation got back to me, they offered me, instead of just their scholarship, the DARD one, which is the German scholarship, which is fully paid, very nice. They also offer different types of scholarships for you to either study in region, which is within your country at a certain institute. They also offer you a chance to go and study for 6 months in Germany, paid by them in Germany. I mentioned that already. Also, they offer different types of travel benefits, but I'll get to that a bit later.
Okay. All right. So congratulations on the scholarship for your master's. Okay. So today we are going to discuss, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to discuss about how important choosing a course is for your postgraduate studies. So perhaps you can just tell us, like, from experience. Okay, you can start by telling us, do you think choosing a course for postgraduate studies is important for students?
Honestly, I will say that I think there's a bit of feedback, sorry. Honestly, I would say that it depends on what the student wants to do with their degree. There's a lot of jobs out there that don't actually require postgraduate studies. In South Africa specifically, we have bachelor's degrees and honors degrees, whereas in a lot of other countries, it's just a straight bachelor's degree. For people in South Africa, I would definitely recommend going as far as an honors degree and then thinking about what you want to do with your project. In biological sciences, you'll find a lot that you do need at least a master's, if not a PhD, if you want to get higher up in a job. It also provides you with great experience for lab work and an expectation of what you can see when you get out there into the working world. For people who are not looking to do such practical work, they might not need to have to go so far in their studies.
So it basically depends on someone else's interest, right? Yes, so most of the
Exactly.
times when students get to go for their postgraduate studies like masters, or when students get scholarships, you find that they end up getting scholarships for the courses they do not want to do. Okay, for
Hmm.
like they don't do the course that they're passionate about, they end up doing the wrong course. So perhaps you can, like tell us why students find themselves in such situations, and if you have an experience in, doing a course that you didn't quite like.
Well, unfortunately, that is a problem with postgraduate studies today. A lot of the time, the type of research that will be funded is something that usually the funders or the government or anyone offering scholarship thinks is important for the development of the country or research in general. A lot of the time, students will have an idea of what they want to do, but find that they have to go into, as you said, something that has a scholarship offered because they can't afford to pay for the studies.
Yeah.
Um, in my personal experience, I found that I had to look a little bit deeper into what was in offer.
Mm-hmm.
And even in some of the subjects that I wasn't overly interested in,
Mm-hmm.
I still found interest and things that I could apply to research that I was interested in.
Okay.
For example, in my honors degree,
Mm-hmm.
I was working on tuberculosis,
Mm-hmm.
doing research for tuberculosis, and I was very passionate about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
I had slight issues with the research in general and with the lab I was working in, which means I had to move.
Mm-hmm.
I was offered a scholarship in a different lab which works with malaria diagnostics.
Okay.
And I took that opportunity because some of the work was very interesting. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't what I wanted, but I could still apply the skills that I learned in that lab to
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted to do with TB, possibly in a PhD thesis or in work after I finished my master's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like most of the times you find that most of these scholarship bodies that are offering scholarship to students, they specify the courses that they want to sponsor, right? So you find
Mm.
that a student is applying to a scholarship, but in real, you find that among the courses listed, their course of interest is not listed in the scholarship program. So they end up just applying to any course that they're not interested in. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a problem. And another problem is that a lot of students, they feel that if they don't do this and go straight into working, they
Mhm.
can't come back. They have to just stay in the working world.
Yeah.
And that really, it's not always the case. It's never too late to be able to go back. And
Mhm.
sometimes people have to realize if they do have to go out and work for a bit to
Mhm.
earn the money to do what they really are passionate about, they
Yes.
shouldn't be scared to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, personally, I wouldn't mind going back to study
Mhm.
something that I was more interested in after I finished my master's degree. But I
Mhm.
would have to spend a few years working to earn the money to do so.
Yeah. So just to emphasize on what you're saying, I feel like it's very important for students after their undergraduate studies, students should, like get a work experience. They should go work, get work experience, really know what they're interested in and what they want to study for their postgraduate studies before they go to postgraduate studies, right? Because if you leave
I mean,
undergraduate and go immediately to postgraduate, you might not do a course that you really want. You might not master into a course that, what do you think about that?
well, I mean, yes, definitely if you're unsure, some people already know what they want, what they're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Other people might think they know what they're passionate about, go into something and realize that it wasn't what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't go out there and work, it's always a good idea to sort of research what you're interested in. Talk to people who are in that type of line of job work. If
Mm-hmm.
you can, maybe job shadow for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to go out and work and you do think you'll have the money to go into postgraduate studies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But yeah, it's definitely very important to know what you want or have a basic idea and know of ways that you can get into what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. And would you advise that whatever they did, should they master in, like whatever they did in undergraduate, should it be related to their postgraduate studies, or they can go to a totally different field?
Ooh, that's a tough one because again, you have to sort of have an idea of where you're going.
Yeah.
If you do an undergrad, say in like English and linguistics, say you've done a bachelor's degree for languages,
Mm-hmm.
you can't suddenly be like, okay, I'm going to do my master's in a science subject now.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have some foundation on which to base your master's.
Yeah.
If it's related, certainly, but it's definitely good to have a basis. Otherwise,
Yeah. Even
you're
most.
going to have a bit of trouble.
Because even most scholarship opportunities, they need you to do a related course. Like one of their requirements is that you need to master in a or do a PhD in a related course. If you did, for example, a medical or a science course in your undergraduate, in your PhD or your in your master's or your PhD, I mean postgraduate studies, they always need you to do like a related course. For example, I did biochemistry in my undergraduate, and then
Mhm.
I tried to divert a bit. I went to MBA, but then I did MBA in healthcare management. So I'm still in the science field, but like an
Mm.
MBA course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really cool because you branch out from just biochemistry. You've branched into something that I assume you're very passionate about and that you're actually more interested in than the basis of the science,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes. Okay, so what
Yeah.
advice would you generally give to students, particularly who are seeking scholarship opportunities and they find, like, for example, DAD, as we all know, DAD list the courses that they want to fund because they have these development goals that they want to achieve. So what advice would you give to students who are seeking scholarships, but then the scholarship they're seeking doesn't have the course that they want to do, that they desire to do? Would you advise them to go ahead and apply for the scholarship and in any course that is offered, or would you advise them to wait and look for other options, other scholarship options?
So I would definitely say that they could attempt both. It is important to basically look for other options.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, see if there are options for what you're interested in. Search around, approach companies, look online, not just the scholarships that are offered through your institutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always apply to the ones that aren't directly related to your topic by basically finding a way that you could incorporate your topic into what they want.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if you wanted to do something which was more economically based
Mm-hmm.
for a science subject, you can find a way that it would impact the science discipline
Mm-hmm.
and would be beneficial, therefore, to what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you have to find a way to incorporate what they want as well as what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And it is difficult sometimes, but for what you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So thank you for that advice. Yeah. So I would encourage like students to look out for opportunities and apply for them. Like in Scholar Park, we give
Mhm.
students you know many students are not aware, again, many students are not aware of the available scholarship opportunities. So basically, we inform you of the scholarship opportunities that are there. So it's upon you to go on their website and look what courses they offer and what courses you're interested in. So if you see that the courses that they are offering do not match with the course of your interest, then you can either pass and go to look for another scholarship opportunity, or you can look for a related course, and apply for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that sounds good to me.
Okay, so thank you for being here with us, Bianca. We appreciate. And thank you for talking to us about choosing
Oh,
the
thank you
right
very much for
course.
inviting me.
Yeah, choosing the right course, which is a very important aspect in scholarship application.
But yes, thank you so much for letting me be here on the show.
Uh-huh.
Um, for the interview, it has been enlightening hearing from your side as well.
Uh-huh.
And I do hope that a lot more people reach out and actually look at scholarship opportunities in the future.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and also share with others so that they get to, like contribute in this discussion. Don't forget to comment down below and tell us what you think and what contents you want us to discuss about in the future. So, peace. Thank you.